While you're busy responding to yesterday's moves, someone else is already positioning 3 steps ahead, building the board before you realize you're playing. What if fortune favors those who read signals, not trends? There's a brutal gap between forecasting and sensing. Most people chase the next big thing, trying to guess where markets, culture, or technology will land. They lose because they treat the future like a lottery ticket. But those who actually run the game understand something fundamentally different. They don't bet on what's coming. They architect it while everyone else is still decoding the present. This isn't luck. It's anticipatory architecture. It's the skill to read weak signals in places where others see only static. Think about who positioned themselves in artificial intelligence before it dominated headlines. That wasn't gut feeling. That was pattern literacy. They detected something forming at the edges, something unnamed, but already gaining momentum. While the crowd waits for validation, they move through uncertainty. By the time consensus arrives, they're already harvesting what they planted in silence. Traditional prediction relies on historical data, but historical data only tells you what already died. Real leverage comes from capturing what hasn't fully emerged yet. It's about feeling the shift before it crystallizes, training your perception to catch tremors nobody else registers. Ever notice how certain individuals always seem positioned exactly where opportunity breaks? That's not coincidence. That's field awareness. They develop an almost supernatural sensitivity to structural changes happening beneath the noise. They don't react to headlines. They observe what hasn't been reported yet, and when they see it, they don't announce it, they act. Strategic silence becomes competitive edge. Discretion transforms into survival asset. And calculated patience evolves into absolute emotional command. This kind of mental control isn't taught in programs. It's cultivated through the discipline of observing without judging, processing without reacting. Personal authority emerges from this capacity to resist the manufactured urgency surrounding you. While everyone's shouting, those with psychological power wait for the precise moment. True mental strength lies in resisting the impulse to act prematurely, in holding your position when everyone around you is losing theirs. That's the difference between surviving and dominating, between adapting and writing the rules. If this resonates, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming. How the invisible identify the currents that move everything. Trends are surface level. Anyone can ride a wave once it's already breaking on shore. The real game happens long before that. It happens when you identify the underwater currents, those invisible forces determining where the water flows next. Tech convergence, silent demographic shifts, resource constraints that haven't triggered crisis yet. These are meta trends, and those who command this vision aren't predicting. They're reading reality's source code before it compiles into visible outcomes. There's historical precedent here. Empires don't collapse overnight. They crumble slowly, and the signals sit there for decades. People just don't want to see them, because seeing would require action, and action would demand the courage to abandon present comfort. Social values shift, and with them, entire markets get redefined. Today's consumer doesn't think like the one from a decade ago. Priorities evolved. What was luxury became necessity. What signaled status now triggers shame. Those who caught this early didn't need to adapt. They were already positioned on the other side when the shift became standard. Here's something rarely discussed. Innovation carries second-order effects. Everyone sees immediate impact. Few calculate what comes after the after. The internet democratized information. Great. But the next effect was cognitive saturation. And the effect after that was the attention economy. Then came the trust crisis. Those who mapped this complete chain weren't caught off guard. They prepared for each successive wave. Emotional self-control is critical in this process, because the temptation to react at the first signal is massive. But reacting too early burns your position. Reacting too late closes the window. Perfect timing emerges from cold analysis, from assessment without anxiety, from calculation without desperation. And that's where most fail, not from lack of intelligence, from excess of uncontrolled emotion, from inability to separate what they feel from what they observe. Can you analyze a situation with ice-cold clarity in when it affects you directly? Drop a comment if this has ever clicked for you. Why pattern recognition beats data accumulation every time. Data without context is noise. Information without connection is dead weight. What separates ordinary minds from strategic ones is the ability to connect seemingly unrelated events, to build a mental matrix where cause and effect reveal themselves before becoming obvious. This isn't a gift. It's training. It's the habit of asking, what does this mean 3 moves ahead? How does this connect to what I observed last week? Where has this pattern appeared before in history? You start seeing the invisible when you stop consuming information passively. When you become a pattern predator, someone who hunts hidden connections like their valuable prey. Scenario planning is a brutal tool. You're not trying to guess the future. You're stress testing your assumptions against multiple possible realities. What if the economy crashes? What if technology accelerates faster than expected? What if regulation tightens? You pressure test your positions before the storm hits. And when it hits, you already know which path to take, because you've mentally walked each one. This mental preparation gives you unsettling calm. While everyone panics, you execute, because you've already seen this movie in your head dozens of times. Building preemptive infrastructure is the final play. No point predicting the wave if you don't have a board. No point knowing the market will flip if you don't have capital position. So you position beforehand, create structures that only make sense in the future, and wait. There's a psychological detail here. Most people need external validation to act. They need someone to confirm they're right. But when confirmation arrives, opportunity already left. Personal authority is born from the courage to act alone, from trusting your own read, from accepting you might be wrong, but that staying still guarantees irrelevance. Mental fortitude is this: moving without absolute certainty, with calculated conviction, applying discipline when instinct screams at you to run or freeze. If this content is helping you, hit that like. It keeps this going. How do you build a mind that's ready for futures that don't even exist yet? It starts with intelligent curiosity. This isn't about finding easy answers. It's about asking the questions no one else is asking. Why is this happening now? Who really benefits from this story? What hidden interest is driving this change? When you develop this kind of productive skepticism, you stop being manipulated. You stop being used. You stop dancing to someone else's music and start playing your own. Unlearning is just as important as learning, may even more so. Outdated beliefs lock you in the past. They make you see new things through old lenses. And that's when you lose. You see a revolution and call it a fad. You see a massive structural change and dismiss it as temporary noise. Silent leaders do this all the time. They let go of what no longer works, without emotional attachment or wounded pride. They understand that survival demands mental flexibility, but flexibility isn't about having no principles. It's about applied intelligence. Diverse information networks are critical. If you only listen to people who think exactly like you, you're building your own cognitive prison. You need dissonant voices, perspectives that make you uncomfortable, and sources that challenge your certainties. Not to agree with everything, but to test how solid your own beliefs are. Because if your ideas can't survive a challenge, they're worthless. If they survive, they come out stronger. There's a practice very few people apply. Dedicate just 15 minutes every day to process what you've consumed. Don't just memorize it, connect it. Ask yourself, how does this fit with what I already know? Where does this contradict my assumptions? What pattern emerges when I put this piece next to that one? This simple ritual changes everything. It transforms you from a passive container into an active processor, from a consumer to a strategist. Most people just collect information. You need to be an archaeologist. Excavate, interpret, and reconstruct the hidden meanings. It's like the samurai principle of an empty mind, ready to receive. Empty doesn't mean ignorant. It means free from the prejudices that block clear vision and the ego that distorts reality. But here's the truth nobody wants to hear. All this knowledge means nothing without execution. You can map every trend, connect every pattern, and predict every move. But if you don't act, you're just a well-informed spectator. The gap between potential power and real power is action. It's the courage to move before you have total clarity, to commit resources while others are waiting for certainty. The current world rewards the speed of adaptation, not the volume of knowledge. It rewards those who act with incomplete but sufficient information. So do this now. Choose one decision, professional or personal, that you've been putting off. Apply what you've just heard. Map out the scenarios. Test your assumptions. Identify the weak signals you've been ignoring. Then, make your move. Not tomorrow. Not when you have more information. Now. Because the window of opportunity is open. And windows don't wait. They close, often without warning. Authority isn't given. It's taken. Power isn't granted. It's built. And mental strength isn't inherited. It's forged in action under pressure. You already have everything you need to start. The real question isn't whether you're ready. It's whether you'll start before you feel ready. Because those who wait to feel ready never begin. If this video opened your mind, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. Comment below and tell me which part hits you the hardest.